Are you ready for the best damn sports radio show on the planet? Man Hour Nation, rise up.
You don't want to be every time, no. I would like to personally welcome you to Man Hour After Dark. Say that thing. While I bring you the host, Mike, Buck, and Cone. You know who's coming to the stage. Sports talk than what you about to hear right here. I second that.
Go. You know that it's us when we talking about sports. Giving you facts on the field to the core. Tune in, we need the support. 1 hour too short, still listen some more. On all your stations, not dropping no music. Starts like Adidas, but Nike just do it. Down 4 in the 4th, we go for the win. Michael 2 seconds, we taking it in. Buck, Mike, and Combs, you know what's going on. Man, now we're After Dark, no LA, we the big spark. No 4th and inches won't cut you short. Got the best talking, it's all sports. Buzzing more than buzzer beaters. We coming live all through your speakers, go.
And what is up, Man Hour Nation? It's your boy, Brandon Combs, coming to you on this fine hump day, baby. It is hump day. And speaking of hump day, who's better than the guy who loves to do nothing but hump all around, the Tori Anderson? What's going on, Tori?
The Humpty Dance is the trance, so let's do the hump.
Do the hump. Oh, man. That poor guy just died, too.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he did not too long ago, yeah.
It was like last week or something. But
what's the last? No, it was before that.
No, the guy with the Humpty Dance. He died it was like last week. Yeah.
I thought he died like 6 months ago.
No. Nope. Just last week. But at any rate, how's your day been, man?
My day was good. Light interview day for me today, so nobody could not show up for their interview on me today, so that was good. So it was more of a day of reaching out to my contacts and stuff that I have, and getting a little bit more comfortable in my domain that I live in, and bringing that world into this world. Yeah,
absolutely. So speaking of getting comfortable, for all you out there taking a listen to us right now, make sure you click that like and subscribe button. Make sure you share. Don't forget, you still can win a trip with the Man Hour crew to Vegas during the NFL draft. All you've got to do is be a $5.99 a month member, and then you will earn points for every comment, like, share that we get. And every week, the top point getter will go ahead and get extra. You'll get extra entries into that drawing, which we will have on Super Bowl Sunday. So make sure you are subscribing, make sure you are commenting, make sure you are liking, and getting your chances to come to Vegas with the boys, man. Look, I don't even know if I'm gonna make it to the draft. I might be hauled away at some casino. Yeah, I might be, some casino playing poker or something. I don't even know if I'll make it to the draft. But we'll be in Vegas anyway during the draft. How about that?
We'll be around there somewhere.
Yeah. Speaking about being around there somewhere, Dak Prescott. So we've been talking a lot about Dak Prescott, but rumor has it now that he's on a pitch count. What does this mean for a quarterback that's on a pitch count?
Most quarterbacks are on a pitch count now these days in the preseason. A lot of them don't even hardly play at all. There again, it's mostly your starters are going to be your starters. A lot of them guys, even when they are in there, if they are a first stringer, go half speed. I'm not worried about that at all. Like, he's going to be ready to go. They're just literally making sure he is ready to go on day one. I don't see a problem with it. I don't see an issue with it. I'm not like, oh my God, there's a major setback. They're holding them back. No, it's again, we talked about it last night. These guys are an investment. It's an investment into your club. You are going to do whatever it takes to protect that investment into your future. I mean, that's just good economics at that point. So I think that's all they're doing. They're protecting him from something that could happen.
Yeah, The thing that I wonder is, does this change their game plan moving forward? If they're trying to be careful with the amount of reps he's taking or with the amount of throws he's making, does this alter their game plan? Does this mean more carries for Zeke, which I don't think would necessarily be a bad thing for the Dallas Cowboys? I wonder how this alters how they're going to be going about their offensive game plan heading into the new season.
Have you seen Mike McCarthy coach before? You have, because you watched him play the Bears twice a year.
Yeah.
The man does not run the ball. He, at the
true.
first sign of his running game struggling, he will abandon it. He will abandon it immediately.
Can you abandon Zeke, though? I mean, it's Zeke.
How many elite running backs did we have under Mike McCarthy? None. We had good running backs, but we never had an elite running back.
I mean, he had Eddie Lacy, and then he looked like he ate Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, Eddie was good for his first year, and then after that, and then the Culver's burgers and the cheese curds got to him.
Yeah,
that's why we renamed him Cheeseburger Eddie after that.
Our boy Wayne G chimes in from Infinity Sports, says their game plan is going to be giving up 35 and hoping Dak scores 40. That was the game plan last year. Didn't work out so well for the first 5 games. So I don't know. I think that defense got much improved at the end of last year, and I think the second half of the season that defense played much better. The problem was at that point, their offensive line was starting to break down. They were getting their backup quarterback murdered on every down. And so I don't know. I think it's a different team. It's a new year. 2020, again, I say this all the time, man. You got to throw 2020 out the window because it was a different experience for everybody involved. It was a different experience for players and their routines because of COVID and all the stuff that they were trying to do, regarding COVID, playing in the stadium without fans in the stands. It's just a totally different atmosphere. So these guys playing, under that environment, it could have just been different for them. So I kind of throw 2020 out the window. We'll see what 2021 brings. I got these guys at 11-6 on the season. I don't have them as world beaters, but I got them at 11-6 on the season. They've got a decent schedule. It's not crazy tough. It's not like, the NFC North schedules, which, God. But anyway, if Dak does not play in the next preseason game, that means he missed most of 2020, and he will not play a preseason game. Are you worried about rust?
No, because he's probably knocking it off in practice. The big thing for him is getting that timing down with the receivers, whatever new wrinkle they threw into the offense. It's the second year in this offense. So he can do that stuff in practice. He does not need to be in the game to get that. It's not like he's a rookie coming in. He's in his fourth? Is this his 4th or 5th year?
This is Dak's 5th year, I believe.
Yeah. So it's not like he's some dumb kid that's a new rookie and doesn't know anything. He knows what he's got to do. He knows how to prep everything else. I don't think the rust is going to be too bad. Aaron Rodgers never really plays in the preseason. He plays about 2 series, the final game of the preseason, and that's about it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't care for any starting quarterback to have to play in the preseason.
No,
I
do. If you have a new head coach, I can see it. If you're learning a new system, I can see it.
But even then that's what practice is for. You know what I mean? Look at Tom Brady last year with Tampa Bay. Did Tom Brady play any preseason games? He was on a whole new team, not just a whole new coaching staff. He had a whole new team he didn't play.
Tom Brady installed the offense he wanted.
Yeah.
He pretty much said,
enough.
these are the plays we're going to run. This is what we did in New England. Here we did. And they practiced it and said, okay, Tom.
Yeah. I don't think that you get right. I think you're right. You're going to be knocking off a lot of that rust in practice. He's good enough to, once game time goes, he's ready to go. I don't worry about rust when it comes to Dak whatsoever. But the Cowboys schedule, and we talked about it a little bit here, They play Tampa Bay to start off the season. It's a Thursday night game. Dallas and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay raising the banner and everything. And then they get the Chargers, the Eagles, the Panthers, the Giants, and the Patriots. Do they have to get off to a hot start to have a chance in the NFC East?
No, because they don't have a chance in the NFC East anyways.
Oh my God.
That the beginning of that schedule is kind of brutal. I see 2 wins.
How is that brutal?
They have 2 wins.
Tampa Bay, they probably lose to. They're better than the Chargers. You know what? That's a 50-50 game for me.
Wait. Is it in San Diego or is it in Dallas?
It is in San Diego.
So yeah, 0-2.
And then they've got 3 straight home games against Philly, Carolina, and the Giants. They're better than Philly. They're better than Carolina, and they're better than the Giants.
They're not better than the Giants. And
you are out of your mind. You better stop right now.
The Giants
do not start. Look,
do you want to see?
We are only 10 minutes and 53 seconds
Giants
into
are
this show.
Top 10 defense. And
we are only 10 minutes and 53 seconds into the show. Do not make me kill you.
More weapons than the Dallas Cowboys have.
Oh my God.
What is their weakness? What is the weakness on the New York Giants that you see that I am not? Tell me that.
Danny Dimes? Their quarterback? Saquon Barkley can't stay healthy to save his life?
If Saquon Barkley doesn't play, they have Corey Clement.
Here we go. Here we go. Corey Clement. Yep. I bet you Buck has him in his top 5 running backs this year. Corey Clement. Yep. Oh, man. So anyway, they're better than Giants, and they got New England. They're better than New England. And then they go to the Vikings. They probably lose in Minnesota. But then they got Denver, Atlanta, Kansas. Denver, Atlanta, they'll win those games. They play Kansas City. That's a loss there. They can beat Las Vegas. Las Vegas is one of those teams you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, you don't literally week to week to flip a coin with them.
Yeah, and then you got New Orleans, which you probably lose that game in New Orleans. Then you've got Washington, which that's rivalry games and interdivision games are really tough to pick, but that one's on the road, so you could go either way with that one. Again, then they play the Giants again. They're better than the Giants. They get Washington again. Then they get Arizona and Philly to close out this season. So I have their losses at... I got them losing to Tampa Bay. I got them losing to Minnesota. I got them losing to Kansas City, New Orleans. I got them losing in New York to the Giants in Week 15. And then I got them losing to Arizona in Week 17. Those are their 6 losses.
No. I have them. I can't remember. I either have them at 8-9 or 7-10.
Wayne G says weakness is quarterback, running back, tight ends, O-line, but otherwise that offense is potent.
Again, have you looked at that roster? That roster is better. That roster is better than the Dallas Cowboys.
No, it is not.
You're also the man that laughed at me when I said the Brewers are going to win 97 games, and they're right on pace.
Oh, my God. They're going to win all 97 of them are going to be inside the division, too. All 97 of them.
Probably. Although they are like 13-4 against the West. Like some crazy number against the West. I'm like, how? How is that?
I don't understand how you feel like the Giants on paper are better than... Are they better at quarterback? Is Daniel Jones better than Dak Prescott?
No.
You're okay. So Saquon Barkley, who you don't know whether he can stay healthy. Corey Clement is listed as their 3rd running back, by the way. Devontae Booker is the 2nd.
Yeah, he's actually outplayed Devontae Booker.
So is Saquon Barkley better than Zeke?
Yes.
Don't. Stop it. Stop it. You're
when
making
healthy,
yourself look
yes.
foolish now.
No, yes. When healthy, yes.
You've got Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, and Darius Slayton.
Yes.
Is that better than the Cowboys wide receiver core?
Yes.
Now you're just talking silly. Like, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. You are out of your damn mind.
You have Amari Cooper, and then you have Michael Gallup that can just run straight down the field.
You're missing CeeDee Lamb in that one as well. I will take Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and anybody over Kenny Galladay, Sterling Shepard, and Darius Slayton.
I mean, you can all you want.
This Giants team
doesn't make it true.
You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind. And we are going to go ahead and take a break on that because I don't know what the heck this guy is talking about right now. We need to go to break because if not, I might try to throw something through my computer and try to hit him right in his throat.
Are you going to try to throw the Rona at me?
I might. You better watch out. I will lick your palms. And welcome back to the Man Hour. It's your boy Brandon Combs along with the Tori Anderson. Tori, tell these people where they can get some cool merchandise.
I heard about this. There's this pretty cool new website that these kids go to called manhourradio.com. You can go over there. You can get some pretty cool merch over there for about $15 a piece. So, like that nice little hat. Brandon, how much did you pay for that sweet hat?
I think it was like $10. I can't remember.
$15 for a t-shirt. I mean,
I got the t-shirt on right here.
I gotta order more because, well, I only have one. I'm not a kid no more. I can't wait to wear the same shirt like 2 weeks in a row.
So definitely head over to manhourradio.com, pick up yourself some merchandise. Tori, I'm in a good mood today. You know why I'm in a good mood today?
Because you got to work from home?
Well,
no,
not really, because alone. You know what? I worked from home and I still didn't get out of work till 6:15. How the hell does that happen? Anyway,
you're gonna be late to your own funeral. You know that, bud?
It was crazy. Today was a long day. I'm glad I worked from home though, because I would have missed the show if I did not. But at any rate, no, I'm in a good mood because the Cubs won last night, broke that 12-game losing streak. The Cubs won this afternoon again to make it 2 in a row. Now they're off tomorrow, so they can't lose tomorrow. So on Friday, do the Cubs get a bona fide winning streak? Kansas City Royals come to Wrigley. Bucks, Kansas City Royals come to Wrigley.
Ooh. Can I root for the games to get rained out all weekend? And make them play a triple header on like a Monday.
Yeah.
No, I think they could. The Royals are struggling pretty badly right now as well. This is a Cubs team that obviously is basically a AAA team up on the major league level at this point, outside of Hendricks and Contreras. And there's going to be a lot of lumps, but Kansas City's kind of going through the same thing, except they've held on to some of their talent. Like, I thought Whit Merrifield would have got traded at the deadline, and he didn't. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, the Royals have taken 2 straight off the Astros. They go for the sweep tonight. So they're beating a pretty damn good team right now. The Cubs just took 2 out of 3. Yeah, the Cubs just took 2 out of 3 from the Reds, who are a playoff contending team. So you got 2 teams that are playing pretty good ball. The Cubs are at home. It's going to be a good game. Yes, can they get a winning streak? Can they make it 3 in a row? Absolutely. Am I going to put my money down on it? No, because Zach Davies is pitching, and you never know what you're going to get from it. Zach Davies is one of those guys who could either he could come in and he could no hit you, or you could come in and you could score 17 runs off of him.
And he still looks like he's 12 years old.
Yes. Still looks like he's 12 years old.
You're experiencing what I experienced with him as a Brewer fan. Because like when we got him from the Orioles, I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. Like, he had an amazing first year. His second year, he was awful. And then all of a sudden his third year, he was great again. And then he had a down year, and then we trade him to San Diego. He has a great year in San Diego last year. And then he gets traded to the Cubs, and now he actually started the year off pretty good and then kind of went downhill.
Yeah. But, I mean, they are throwing the Royals are throwing Brad Keller, who is probably a little bit worse than Zach Davies. And so this could be one of those games where it's just a shootout. It's going to be the offenses trying to go off. I trust Kansas City's offense more than I trust the Cubs' offense right now. So
it's just because they got more major league at bats by about 1,000 on that team.
Yeah, and I mean, plus they've got some really good talent on that team. It's young talent, but the Kansas City Royals are talented. They're better than what their record shows. They've had a tough season with injuries and that type of stuff, but you got Salvador Perez out there. I think Kansas City probably takes 2 out of 3 from the Cubs this weekend, as well.
I really hope not. I really hope Kansas City sweeps them, because that just puts you even closer to the Pirates than the first place.
Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on what the Brewers do, though, right? I mean, the Brewers have to win their games, and
right, yeah. So like tonight, yeah, because the Cubs won today. So
and the Brewers are playing the Cardinals.
Yeah, which there again, we have common ground there. We both really absolutely hate the Cardinals as well.
We do.
It's one thing we can agree on. Brewers are down 3-0 right now in the second inning to the Cardinals. So, they scored 2 in the first. Now they just scored another one. Like literally as we were talking, I saw it flash up on my phone. So I'll just say that the Brewers are probably going to lose tonight. So, but it does nothing to the standings, because
I mean the Brewers are scoring at a crazy clip, though. I mean, minus the last couple of games where they've only put up 2 runs. Before that, they had put up 47 runs in 4 games.
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
They put up 17 to 1 game on the Cubs, and then like they put up 11 another day, put up 8. And then there was over 10 another. Well,
they they beat the Cubs 10-0. Then they beat them 17-4. Then they got rained out in Pittsburgh, and then they came back and they lost 14-4 to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And then the Pirates, they beat the Pirates 6-0, 2-1. So look, they're starting to hit again. The Brewers are, taking full advantage of a really bad division. Right now they're 9 games up on Cincinnati. They're 11 games up on St. Louis. 20.5 up on the Cubs. and 31 up on the Pirates.
I don't know. The Pirates still, if they go on a winning streak, they might get back into it.
Yeah. Yeah. They might get
Mathematically,
it.
they are not eliminated yet.
Yeah, they're not eliminated from getting out of the basement, but they're eliminated from anything else.
Yeah, because there's 42 games left.
Yeah.
So they're almost eliminated.
All right. So switching gears here. Let's get over to some football. Looking at the Browns, I was, we were going through, there was a post about the best logos in football, and somebody kept posting the team with no logo, the Browns. They've got the best logo in football. So it got me thinking about the Browns and Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Now, they're definitely a 1-2 punch, but which one of them is going to have the bigger season?
Chubb. I'm going to say Chubb just because he's the first and second down back. Both of them are going to have really good years. Kareem Hunt's usually their third down back. He's the receiving back. He's no slouch. He's going to put up a ton of touchdowns and a ton of points as well. I do think Chubb, though, because Chubb will be the goal line back. Kareem Hunt's still more of their home run hitting back. So I'm gonna go with Chubb. And there again, both of those guys are a threat to take it distance anytime they touch the ball. So,
yeah.
But I'm just going with Chubb just because he's first, second down. He's a little bit more power back, but by no means is he a slouch, and he has a ton of speed.
Well, I really like Nick Chubb. I really do. I think Chubb is a great running back. I think he's one of the premier backs in this league. But here's the kicker. I'm going to take Kareem Hunt. See what I did there?
Here's the kicker.
God, bad joke. Bad joke. It failed. But no, I think Kareem Hunt. I think Kareem Hunt's going to get in the end zone more, just because I think overall, I think that Nick Chubb will get them close to the end zone, and then Kareem Hunt always gets to finish it off. For whatever reason, they always seem to, when it's short yardage back, they'll bring in Kareem Hunt over Nick Chubb. So Nick Chubb usually, he'll run for, if you have 90 yards to go, he'll run for 89 of them, and then he'll get a ball to Kareem Hunt to get the ball over the goal line. So, you might have more yards with Nick Chubb, but you're going to have more points with Kareem Hunt. So that being said, which one or either of them do you stay away from them in fantasy football? Or do you go with one or the other?
No. If you're smart, you try to handcuff both of them. That's if you're smart. It's like last year, I won my league last year handcuffing Chase Edmonds and Kenyon Drake, from Arizona. I had to start both of them because you didn't know week to week who's going to go off, but one of them it was guaranteed that would go off. So I was starting both of them. So I picked up Edmonds just as a handcuff in case something happened to Drake, which he did get hurt there for a little bit. Yep. But then he came back and they both played well, and they were my starting running backs. I would do the exact same thing with the Cleveland Browns if you can. In fact, if I'm me and I have say you're in a 12-team league like I am, and you have the 12th pick like I do, if they are there, if Nick Chubb is there, I would potentially think about doing Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt back-to-back in the first round, second round pick.
Okay. That's interesting. I think it's a little high for Kareem Hunt. But
but PPR league, if it's a PPR league, he's going to get you a ton of points still through the air as well. So it's like I said, he's the receiving back. So like the league I am in is a PPR league.
Yeah, the one I'm in, I got a couple that I'm in. But the one dynasty league that I'm in is a PPR league as well. I have Chubb. I don't have Hunt. I should have grabbed Hunt now that I think about it. Maybe I could trade for him. Who knows? But yeah, no, I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these guys when it comes to fantasy football. Just like you said, I think they're both going to have good seasons. I think they're both going to put up good numbers. I think the Cleveland Browns are going to be a very good team this year. I think they're going to win their division. So keep him with football.
I'm not going to disagree with that at all.
Yeah. So the Seahawks gave up 2 first-round picks and now $140 million for a player who I have no clue who it is because Buck did not put it on the rundown. Did the Seahawks give up too much for him? Player who we do not know who you are.
Jamal Adams. It's Jamal Adams. I verified that.
Yeah.
Yes, I
just wanted to give Buck shit because I know he's listening right now.
I think 2 firsts, and they did. I think they give him a player too.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's just a lot for a safety. Granted, he is one of the best safeties in the league. You're getting a guy that's in his prime, but still, 2 first-round picks for a safety, that is a steep price. But if it wasn't them, who was it? We don't know what the other offers were. It's not one of those things where the Raiders come out and say, well, we had offered a first round and a second round pick. Like, teams just don't discuss that because that puts you at, it's like a game of poker that puts you as a disadvantage because you basically just told them what your hand was that you were dealing with and trying to get that player so somebody else can take advantage of it. I do think they overpaid. I think 1 first would have been good plus a player, but not 2 first round picks. That's a lot. Unless you are going to be drafting 28th, 29th, 30th, 31st, 32nd.
Is it a lot for the best safety in football? And Jamal Adams is the best safety in the NFL.
Yeah. There's no question about that. He is. But still,
Wayne G agrees.
Yeah, safeties aren't valued the same way as other positions are, though. It's almost like it's a dime a dozen type thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's too much. I think that they went out and got the guy that they needed to get because that Seahawks defense has been struggling for the last couple of years. They haven't been the same Seahawks defense that we've come to know. They're not the vaunted Seahawks who can just show up and shut you down.
Right.
They were in need of something, and I think Jamal Adams is maybe what that was. That he's going to come in, he's going to be a leader. He's a safety that can really change the game. So I don't know. And Wayne G says if it's a dime a dozen, who are the 9 other Jamal Adams in the league?
Adrian Amos is one of them. Harrison Smith, that other guy, and that one guy. So Derwin James. I would put Derwin James. I think Derwin James is a close second as the best safety in the league if he stays healthy, and that was the biggest thing for him. He was not healthy. Adrian Amos. It's like I said. I put him up there. I would put. I'm going to be complete homer on this, but I would put both Packers safeties up there. They're both top 10 safeties in the league.
Look at you. Yeah, I mean, you're forgetting a couple, but look at you.
Yeah. Buck just said it. Honey Badger's up there.
I mean, Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Justin Simmons.
Does that sound like a dime a dozen to you?
Harrison Smith.
I said Harrison.
Oh, did you?
Okay. Yeah, just because I got to look at him.
You got John Johnson out of Cleveland as well.
Yep. Yeah, because he came over from the Rams.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
Yep.
Is Eddie Jackson safety? Or is he a corner?
Eddie Jackson's a corner.
All right. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that they're a dime a dozen. I think that the talent that you have, the ball hawking ability that you have with Jamal Adams, I don't think that that's a dime a dozen. I think that there are a couple guys in the league who are head and tails above the rest. I think Harrison's up there. I'm gonna take Justin Simmons, Harrison Smith, Honey Badger, Adrian Amos. Those guys I think are on
Derwin.
A different level with Jamal Adams. You know what I mean? So I don't think that they're a dime a dozen, but I do think that safety is a very undervalued position in football. Like so when people see this, they're like, "Wow, you gave all that up for a safety." I don't think it's necessarily that. I think that, they needed a guy who could come in and be a difference maker. They needed a guy who could come in and lead that defense, and Jamal Adams is that guy. So I don't think that's overpaying, because I don't think that there's anything with those draft picks that you gave up that you were going to get that was going to be better than Jamal Adams. So you might get 3 players who at some point might be starters in this league, but they're not going to be Jamal Adams. So I don't have a problem with what they gave up. I don't think it's too much at all. I'm okay with the money they gave them. I'm okay with the picks that they gave up. I think it was a good trade for them.
Well, I'm not saying it's a bad trade. It was still a good trade. You get the best safety in the league. I'm just thinking, I think it's one too many first round picks. That's my thing. Is that the trade value that you gave up is not what you got in return in my book. Or actually, you gave up. I shouldn't say that. You gave up more trade value than what it was worth in my book.
Okay.
That's a in the NFL, with you only having 7 rounds in the draft, a first round pick, giving up a first round pick is a lot bigger deal in the NFL than it is for most sports. Like baseball, you can trade a first round pick and it doesn't matter because there's 53 rounds to the draft.
Yeah. There's no such thing as tanking in baseball. I know, some people like Buck was talking about in the rundown, which I didn't bring up, but he was like, if they start winning a couple of games, should they bring up some more of their minor leaguers to start? And there's no tanking in baseball, because you can find something in the 17th round that's just as good as something that you found in the first round. It's just about hitting that diamond in the rough,
Right. Yeah. The thing is you don't know. It is a lot tougher to predict how a baseball player is going to develop than it is in any other sport. There's a lot more misses in baseball than there are hits.
100%. 1,000%.
You're a baseball guy. You remember Brian Taylor, if you remember that name way back for the Yankees, was like the number 1 pick overall. This kid was the phenom. He's going to be the next Doc Gooden. The guy flamed out in like less than a year and was never that good when he came up.
I don't think he made it. Did he ever even make it to the league?
He made it to the league, but he got shelled. He got rocked. Todd Van Poppel.
The kid from St. Louis who just forgot how to throw into the strike zone. What the hell was his name? Rick Ankiel. Yeah. I mean, all of a sudden, the guy just couldn't throw a strike to save his life.
But he could hit the baseball a mile still and became an outfielder.
And he could throw the ball from the center field wall to home plate.
So
the guy had a crazy cannon.
Did you see the video of Jackie Bradley Jr.?
No.
They were doing batting practice, and Bradley Jr. picks up a baseball at home plate, takes a crow hop, and chucked it over the wall in center field.
Yeah.
That's a cannon.
Arm injury, didn't make it to the league. You guys don't know Brian Taylor.
I know he was next phenom and was nothing.
Yeah, I remember the name. But there's a lot of guys who are like that. I mean, we just named a few. Right. There's been guys, that coming up through the ranks that are like, oh, they're going to be this, or oh, they're going to be that. I mean, I remember when the Cubs signed Albert Almora Jr. And they're like, oh, this guy is going to be the next, Willie Mays in center field. He plays a crazy center field, can hit, can do everything. He came up, man. He couldn't hit the broadside of the barn. He was amazing defensively. He was so much fun to watch defensively. But he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, And it's crazy to see, all the things that have happened with players that just don't pan out to be what they thought they were going to be. And then, Albert Almora is the one who hit that girl in Houston, the little girl when in the stands. And I remember watching him and his reaction to that. They just settled, by the way. They just got a settlement from Houston for not having nets up, and That's crazy. They say a little girl suffering from seizures and everything.
Ugh.
It's the hardest ball Albert Amora ever hit.
That was
Unbelievable.
he like fell down crying when he hit it. That was that
Yeah,
one, wasn't it?
yeah. He was in the on deck circle. A couple people had to come console him. Yeah, that was brutal, man. It's always brutal to see stuff like that because sometimes when you're at a baseball game, man, and me myself, like I'm a baseball fan. I go and I watch the game. I keep score. I do all that stuff, but then sometimes you just find yourself you're not paying attention. You miss a pitch or two. And you're like, hey, what the hell did I miss? What just happened? Something happened. A fight breaks out in the stands, which happened the last time I went to Wrigley. All of a sudden, I'm watching the bleachers because some guy's falling down 5 rows as he's getting jumped. So things happen and take your attention away. And if you're not paying attention, that's why I never, like, when I have my kids with me, I always get seats that are, further back. I don't ever get them really good seats when the kids are with me. Not only that, but I mean, it'd be $1 billion to bring 4 people to a game if you got the good seats.
You could, if you brought your whole crew, you would just go bankrupt.
Yeah. Just take my year's salary for one game. Let's do that. But we're gonna take our next break here. Stan Jones says, "What's up? What's going on, Stan? Thanks for joining us, man. Definitely click that like button, subscribe, join." Don't forget, you can win a chance to come to Vegas with the Man Hour crew during the NFL draft. All you got to do, head over to YouTube, sign up, become a member for $5.99 a month, and every time you like, every time you share, every time you comment, like the one that I just brought up right now, it gets you points. And extra points mean extra entries into the drawing that will be held on Super Bowl Sunday. So get over to YouTube right now, search Man Hour, click the subscribe button, become a member for $5.99, become a member of Man Hour Nation. Man Hour Nation, rise up. We will be back in 2 minutes. And welcome back, Man Hour Nation. What is going on? Tori over here doing some head bobbing. He had some duck lips going. What in the hell is going on?
I always get into the break music every time. It gets me. I don't know why. It does.
That is okay. I mean, if I never see you do duck lips again for the rest of my life, it would be too soon. All right. So, Tori, are you ready for some Would You Rather?
Who would you rather?
So, Would You Rather is a play on, that game you played when you were, I don't know, in your teens or earlier than that with your friends. Would you rather do this one or would you rather do that one? Marry, like, and cut.
Kill.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it out loud. But anyway. So, would you rather... I'll start you off. If you had a chance to play in one major league game, would you rather play in the Field of Dreams or Wrigley Field?
Ugh.
Let's throw another one out there. Let's say Wrigley Field or Fenway Park. Those are the two... Those are the two nostalgic parks left.
Even if, like, and you and I have talked about this, as much as I hate the Cubs, I am obsessed with trying to get to go to a game at Wrigley. Where would I want to play? I would just say Fenway. Fenway, I think, would be more historic to play at. Wrigley, for me, is the oldest, the atmosphere, the fans, like that kind of thing there. Where I think there's so much history behind Fenway that I think I'm going to go with Fenway on that one. Just because it's like I said, for me, there's a difference there.
Yeah. And, I might surprise some people with this answer here because it's actually not Wrigley. I would play at the Field of Dreams. Look, there's been a lot of people that have played at Wrigley. There's been a lot of people that have played at Fenway Park. Not a whole lot of people have played baseball games at Iowa. And...
Oh, wait. Time out. I thought you changed it from Field of Dreams to Wrigley or Fenway. I didn't know that was still on the table.
No.
Hands down, I'm going to take the Field of Dreams game.
Yeah, that's why I was actually surprised you weren't going with the Field of Dreams. Because
I'm slow some days.
The everything, the Field of Dreams to me is where it would be at. However, I would want to play in the first one. I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to repeat or go play some boring game. I would want to play in the first one. I'd want to be a part of that original game.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with that. As Wayne G chimes in and says, Fenway Park. I don't get warm and fuzzy about the ivy. Yeah. What do you get warm and fuzzy about? About a 35-foot wall that has dents all over it?
Yeah.
Just saying. I mean,
Carlton Fisk in the home run.
Don't come after my church, which is Wrigley Field. At any rate, moving on.
God dang it, Wayne! Stop starting a holy war.
So Wayne will like this one. Let's flash back to the Seahawks and Patriots Super Bowl. You're Russell Wilson. You're on the 3-yard line. Would you rather hand the ball off to beast mode to win the game, or try to throw a slant to win the game?
That's easy, because hindsight's always 20/20. And the thing is that was beast mode. Beast mode was tearing them up that game. How do you not give beast mode the ball?
I would have given him the ball 4 frickin' times
in a row.
4 times. I would have given him the ball. I don't understand. To me, it's still the worst play call in the history of play calls, in the history of Super Bowls. It is the worst play call I've ever seen in my entire... It's just stupid. And it was... You know what that one play call is? It sums up everything that Pete Carroll is. Pete Carroll is always the smartest guy in the room as soon as he walks in the room. Always wants to be cute and always wants to outsmart the next person. And you know what that got him? A Super Bowl loss. That's what it got him. Because... You hand that ball to beast mode 4 times. You don't give Russell Wilson a chance to throw an interception. You hand that ball to beast mode and let him run. Not only that, but from the 1-yard line, I believe he was at I believe there was something, a stat where he had run it in. He had 15 attempts from the 1 yard line. And 15 times he scored a touchdown.
Oh, I'm gonna need to see that stat, but it's a believable stat. That could be a liar thing.
It's crazy to me. Like the funniest thing, I like the fact that Beast Mode's been so outspoken about it, and he's done so many commercials about it. Like that what was it? He did a thing on what was it? Jimmy Kimmel with him and Gronk, and they were playing and freaking. I think they redid the scenario or something like that, and Beast Mode went to throw the ball again and got intercepted. He threw the remote down and walked off the set. And then there was always the tweet, the best tweet of all time, the best tweet exchange of all time was the following season. Beast Mode got a 98 in his trucking on Madden. So the Seattle Seahawks tweeted EA Sports and said, EA Sports, what's Beast Mode got to do to get a 99 overall trucking? They tweeted back at him with the HB dive over 3 times for like their place selections, and they said one of these might help. One of these might. That was the greatest reply ever. Like I thought that was an awesome exchange between them, and EA Sports absolutely won that one. So
I do
no, you absolutely give that ball. If anybody chooses throw the slant pass, you're an idiot. All right.
Except
so
for
moving
Buck,
on.
you know.
No, Buck's an idiot. Buck's an idiot anyway. That's just a given. All right. So one more. You're walking down Main Street in your hometown. Would you? Oh, Jesus Christ, Buck. This is the first time I'm reading this one. You're walking down Main Street in your hometown. Would you rather pee your pants as your ex walks by, or speak out loud what you are thinking when a pretty girl walks by? God. I mean,
I don't even know what this means.
This one's easy.
I'm gonna pee my pants probably.
Really? You'd rather pee your pants as your ex walks by than say out loud what you're thinking as a pretty girl? I will say out loud 100 times out of 100 what I'm thinking out loud. Like, it does not bother me. I am that guy. Like, I don't care. Like, if I've got something on my mind, I say it. And especially if I'm a single guy at the time, I have no problem telling a girl what I think. No problem whatsoever. I'm very
like
forward.
You're still going to be a single guy.
No. Michelle, no. When me and Michelle started talking, I was the same way with her. Like, I didn't like if something was on my mind, I would tell her. You know, if I thought, you know, we would talk or whatnot, and if I thought she looked at her, I would tell her. Like, it's just not like I don't beat around the bush. It's just not who I am. So 100 times out of 100, I would just say, what if you're not single? Is she with me?
So
is she with me as we're walking down the street?
This almost reminds me of a dilemma that I was too young and dumb to realize what I said, because sometimes things come out of your mouth that shouldn't when you are dating somebody. And I was about 21 years old. I'm pretty sure I was right past 21, maybe a couple months, and we were all at a campfire. And I had just started dating this girl, and we'd been dating for about 2 or 3 months. And we were sitting there, and I said, well, the prettiest girl I ever dated, and I said a different girl's name.
Oh.
That went over like a fart in church.
Yikes.
I was not 21 in 1992. It was 1998.
I was in first grade.
That doesn't even bother me. Like, my one coworker I had before I left my job, when I started with the state, she was 5 years old. So she was just starting kindergarten when I started working for the state.
Yeah. You know, you look at a lot of stuff now. I mean, you look at players coming up in the league and they're only 18 or 19 years old. And then you look at it and you're like, wow, you're 18 or 19 years old. That means you were born in 2002. or 2003.
Well, and that's where, like, I don't know if you saw the comment that Cade Cunningham made the other day about LeBron. To me, LeBron's a GOAT, even though Jordan did stuff. You weren't around for Jordan, like you didn't get to see him play.
you don't get to...
So I get it, but the thing is, I get why he's going to say LeBron. Like I get that part of it, because
now that I think about it, though, I mean, we talk about the greatest of all time all the time. I mean, we talk about, like, especially in baseball, none of us were around to see a guy like Babe Ruth,
right?
But me myself, I have Barry Bonds as the greatest of all time. So, and it's not because I don't know anything about Babe Ruth. I mean, I've looked at the stats. I've seen some of the things that have gone on. Whatever footage they have, I've probably seen it. But to say that you can't have that opinion because you didn't see that person play, well, then nobody can ever have an opinion of the greatest of all time, because there's always going to be somebody you didn't see play.
Which has been my argument against even naming a great of all time anyways. It should be like the greatest athlete of that era. The GATE. Give him the GATE.
Greatest athlete of that era. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Because Wayne G says Wilt. Nobody saw him, but I think he's the greatest of all time. Look, there's a huge... Look, Wayne G makes a great argument for Wilt Chamberlain being the greatest of all time, and some of his arguments are hard to argue. You really can't argue against them. They're, when you start looking at numbers for like Wilt Chamberlain, that's you can't fight against that, because nobody, not even Jordan, came close to some of the numbers that Wilt Chamberlain put up. So there is a good argument, but I mean, he's wrong. I mean, Jordan's the GOAT. So.
The thing is with Wilt, I mean, we should really have Wayne G and Wyatt debate on Wilt. Oh wait, we already did that.
Yeah,
it didn't go well for Wyatt.
Not at all. Wyatt's not a debater, though. You know what I mean?
No, he's a lover. He is definitely more of a lover than a fighter.
Wyatt get that? You know what though? But that's why him and Nikki are going to last forever. Because she wins every argument, and that's the key to a successful marriage.
Right.
Wayne G is on tomorrow with That's Debatable at 8:45 Eastern. That is true. Wayne G will be on tomorrow with That's Debatable, although anything that Wayne G says, and he'll tell you this himself, is not debatable. He says he's never lost a debate, but that's debatable as well. Stay with us. We'll be back with some shop talk here in 2 minutes. If I can find the dang button.
What is your name?
What?
What is your name?
Fuck.
Where did you get that shirt?
It's funny that you should ask that. Head over to manhourradio.com. You can pick up the shirt up. $15.
welcome back to the Man Hour. It's your boy Brandon Combs, along with Tori Anderson. We are your hosts for tonight. We didn't need no Buck. We don't need no bucking Buck. At any rate, what the Buck? So it is time for Shop Talk. What would you guys like to talk about? Let's go through some of the comments here. There are a lot of them. Let's see here. Wayne G wants to know, what sport is getting the number one pick most impactful? Ooh, that's a good one.
For me, personally, it's basketball. Because that one player can change the direction of your franchise for the next 5 to 7 years. Yeah. And it can destroy your franchise for longer than that if you really make the wrong choice.
Yeah, especially lately, because they haven't had very many deep drafts in the last 5 or 6 years.
No. So for every Shaquille O'Neal that's a game changer, there's a Kwame Brown who just didn't pan out to be as good as they thought he was going to be, or even I'll go probably the worst number one overall pick, Anthony Bennett, in probably the last 25 years. So for every at that point, for every LeBron, there's an Anthony Bennett. To me it's because you only have 12 players on your roster, and those picks are so valuable when there is not that many players picked, that can really set your franchise up or set it back.
Yeah.
For 5 to 7 years. In football is probably a close second.
See, I don't think so though. I don't, because how many number one overall pick busts do we have? I think we have probably, I bet you if you went back and looked at number one picks over the last, let's say 20 years, let's say 30 years. Let's go back all the way back to 1991. I bet you if you look at number one overall picks, I bet you have more busts than you do stars.
I do, but and the thing is with that though, and that's why I put them second behind basketball.
But see, you're missing a sport though, and I'm surprised at you, Tori, because for me, I think the most important is hockey. I think hockey is just like basketball in the aspect that player can change your organization. And there are very few, just like basketball, there are very few number one consensus overall picks. And when you get that guy, when you get the Taylor Halls, when you get the Patrick Kanes, when you get the, don't you
say his name.
Which
don't
one?
Say his name. That little dork from Pittsburgh.
Sidney Crosby.
Ah!
Or you can get the Sedin sisters. You know what I mean? So that number one pick is very important to hockey. So I think that hockey and basketball are right up there. I think the number one pick in baseball is almost more important than the number one pick in football. That number one overall pick in baseball is usually pans out. I mean, you got your Bryce Harpers, you got your,
but is it going to set your franchise back? That's the way that's where I value that pick. Is it going to set?
Well, baseball is hard to tell because baseball takes 5 years for the number one pick to come up to the majors.
Right, but there again, so you have the luxury of that time where some franchises like basketball, it's a quick turnaround game. Football is a quick turnaround game.
Yeah.
The only two sports that you can really, really, truly develop a player is hockey and baseball. If the guy needs a little more seasoning, you have the luxury of that time. You don't have that luxury when it comes to your football career or a basketball career. You are either going to make it in the league or you are not. You don't have that time. I mean, it's going to change a little bit now with basketball with the G League.
Yeah.
But still, you're going to see more. You're going to get set back more than anything. Where in like football, I'm going to take the worst draft pick of all time, Jamarcus Russell, as number one overall pick. You set your franchise back 4 years at that point. it's like I said, where basketball, that could be 5 to 7 years that you set your franchise back, unless you're like the Cavaliers and just like, get like the number one pick like 3 years in a row and, hit on one of them. So
I don't think that the number one overall pick in football is because, look, let's face it. In football, there's pretty much. Let's take this year's draft, for example, right? You had 3 quarterbacks or 4 quarterbacks go in the top 4, and you probably could have made an argument that any 4 of them could have been the number one overall pick. A lot of people think Zach Wilson is better than Trevor Lawrence. A lot of people think that. When did you pick up driving tractor trailers?
he's making fun of your hat. Trucker hat.
Hey, it's all I can do for Man Hour. I told him we need to get some fitted hats. Fitted hats are my favorite.
Are they expensive?
This hat,
I would settle for a flex fit.
Yeah. I don't know. I like my fitted hat, but when it comes to football, there are just too many number one. There are too many picks that are impactful, and it's not always just a number one over. It's really the whole first round. I mean, you can look at a guy, a team where they've already got their quarterback. So let's say where, for instance, Penei Sewell. Penei Sewell could end up being the best pick of that draft and not even have gone number one. There are so many. It just depends on where your team picks and what your team's needs are in the NFL, that I just feel like the number one pick isn't that important unless you need a quarterback, because that's usually the number one overall pick, right?
Right.
So if you don't need a quarterback, then the number one pick's not that important.
But now, if it's baseball, like you're saying, if you're the New York Yankees, you have the number one overall pick. Does it really matter because you buy your team anyways?
But you always need pitching in the farm system, whether or not you use that pitching in your major league team, or if you use them for trade bait like the Yankees usually do to bring on some overpaid guy who's going to strike out 500 times and hit 30 home runs. But you always need those pieces in your system. You're always going to need more pitching. You're always going to need
You could get a guy that develops in the 17th round.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How many late-round Hall of Famers are there in the Baseball Hall of Fame?
Oh,
there's quite a few.
A lot. Yeah.
Look at Piazza. Piazza was drafted as a favor to Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah, I was going to say, he didn't even want to draft him. Yeah, it was a favor. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a favor, and the guy is a Hall of Fame player. He's one of the best catchers in baseball.
Hoffy, when did I take up driving tractor? When did you decide to start showing back up and commenting on the show, buddy? It's good to see you again. We always love seeing you.
Did you get divorced already, Hoffy?
Oh God. Oh God. Don't do that. All right, at any rate. So we've got some other stuff to talk about. We got Shop Talk still going, but you wanted to talk a little bit about this John Frost in Nebraska investigation, didn't you?
Scott Frost.
Tell the people what's going on there.
The NCAA is about to put the freeze on Frost.
Oh Jesus!
Why
did I give you that?
I've been working on that all day long.
You worked on that all day long, and that's what you came up with?
Yeah. The only way it could have got better if Hugh Freeze would have been
you have no artistic creativity in your body, do you? No artistic creativity. It's more like autistic creativity.
Is that pretty chilling?
Oh my God.
Am I getting colder?
Just tell the people what the hell's going on in Nebraska.
So Nebraska is now under investigation for improper use of analysts during games and practices, along with having organized workouts with the strength and conditioning coaches present. So basically organizing some, and this was during the time of COVID-19 when there was all the protocols in place. So basically the team that yelled the most about games didn't cancel the COVID just got caught because they were breaking the rules during protocol of COVID. And the fact that I'd never even heard of this rule. Apparently this is the same thing that Kansas got slapped for on the football field as well, with the improper use of analysts during the game, because apparently they're not supposed to be on the field. Like, there's only like a certain number of people that are supposed to be on the field, and analysts aren't supposed to be on the field, and they had them on the field. It's a weird rule. I don't get it.
I have been one that I've said, and it's funny, it's not funny, but like me yesterday when I found out that I was positive for COVID, right? Like, I'm still not in the frame of mind that COVID is like this crazy virus that is just killing everybody. It's just not, like, I think the numbers are inflated. I think that there are certain things, and I think it's very politically driven. But that being said, it's clearly very real. People are still clearly dying from it. And doing things that continue to enable it to spread is just stupid. It's neglectful. You're not doing the right thing. You look at me now, for the next 10 days, I'm living in my freaking basement. I almost swore there.
We almost had to hit the edit button.
I'm living in my basement, and everybody else is on the level above me. Because for me, it's not because I'm afraid of it. It's about, what if I give it to somebody who ends up dying from it? Or what if I give it to somebody and they give it to somebody who ends up dying from it? Like, I don't want that on my conscience. Same thing like Michelle. Michelle, her and I went and got tested at the same time, and hers came back negative. And then her work tells her, hey, since you're negative, I checked with everybody. Don't tell anybody, but you can come back to work. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. It just makes no sense. Like, it's stupid. And I told Michelle, I said, you do what you feel comfortable doing. But for one, I think it's irresponsible to even go back to work. But since, we have to pay the bills, and you have to make a choice between, your job or staying home, you make the choice. If you choose, to stay home anyway and you lose your job, we'll figure it out. But if you do go to work, just do me a favor and tell everybody that you work with what's going on. Granted, you're negative, like, you tested negative, but you're around somebody who tested positive, and this is how the thing keeps spreading. So let them make the decision on whether or not they want to wear a mask. Let them make the decision on whether or not they want to stay 6 feet away from you. Let them make that decision. And when you do stupid stuff that continues this to keep going, that's why we can't get past it. Because we do stupid shit. And that's what this whole Frost thing is. It's stupid shit. No, shit's okay to say on the radio. It's just stupid. I mean, I don't understand, why, like, first of all, and then you're going to complain about missing games due to COVID. And you're doing stupid stuff like this? Stop. It boggles my mind. Absolutely boggles my mind.
But the only good news for them is it's like a level 2 or a level 3 infraction. It's not a level 1 infraction. So they'll probably whatever they get will be like, you lose like one scholarship for
right. But Reggie Bush accepted a car from a dealership, so he loses his Heisman.
Well, and I think he has a legit gripe, like, give me back my Heisman, because this is now legal. But come on, do you ever look back on that season and say Reggie Bush is not the Heisman from that year? No, you don't.
No, nobody does. Same thing when they decide, in college basketball, oh, we're stripping the title. Cool. We all still watch them win the championship.
Right. That's what I've never gotten at. I'm like, okay. So what? You're gonna give like the second place team the trophy now?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Because I'm pretty sure that championship is still sitting inside their trophy case. Like I don't.
And then the coaches are like, oh, I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna go coach another team instead. And so now the university is stuck with the punishment, but the coach that was stupid is now coaching another team, and he has no punishment.
Right. Yeah.
And the worst part is they know that the punishment's coming, so that's when they back out and they go somewhere else.
Pete Carroll,
yes, yes.
Right? Well, but to his credit, he didn't jump to another college team. He jumped to the NFL because I think he knows that he would have gotten some form of punishment as well. But now, like you take like Hugh Freeze that was at Ole Miss and got caught doing a bunch of infractions. He basically got fired for all the infractions that went on. Basically, let everything die down for a year, and then came back. Javier? And now he coached. What does he coach? The Liberty, and made them into like a powerhouse in like a year.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's insane how college, sports in general, the NCAA has been allowed to rule, and how they're able to tell certain teams, oh, you can do this or you can do that, or players, you can do this and you can do that, but they don't follow their own rules. Like I don't know, I don't get it. So we are about time for our next break. So we're gonna take another break, and when we come back, we will get into some more sports headlines. Stay with us. We will be back in 2 minutes. And we are back. And Tori is cracking up. What happened?
What is wrong with people?
What happened?
Your task is to blow a job interview in the first 30 seconds. What do you say?
Oh, God. I can only imagine.
Somebody replied, put a meme up there with a female lady interviewed. It says, well, I have 3 openings. And then it says unemployed guy. I know.
Oh
was the worst possible time to read that right as we're coming back from break. I was dying.
That's hilarious. All right. So we've got more sports headlines while Tori tries to collect himself from his juvenile acts during break. So Tori and Wyatt have a fantasy show every Wednesday at 10:45 a.m. Eastern. If you are the first overall pick in your draft, who are you drafting first and why? Tori?
I'm taking Torrey Anderson because he's the greatest there ever was, there ever will be. I'm just kidding.
Okay, Bret Hart.
This year, I see, and I flip back and forth, but you still have to go. CMC is still probably your number one player overall,
especially in a
fantasy
PPR,
football
right?
this year. Hands down in PPR. And that's where I say if you're in a PPR, it's a coin flip between him and Kamara. Both of them were hurt last year.
Huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
CMC missed quite a bit of time. Mike Davis filled in pretty well for him. And Kamara played half the season on one leg.
But don't you have to see how the Saints offense runs through Jameis Winston before you decide what you're going to do with Kamara?
No.
Because I always had a rule of thumb in fantasy football. I always stayed away from New Orleans Saints running backs because of the way they use them in their system. They tend to just use them as dump pass running backs. They don't really give them 20 carries a game. It's a out of the backfield check down type thing is what the Saints have always been known for, but minus the exception of Kamara maybe the last year or two because they've needed to run the ball more because their quarterback had been aging and getting out of it. But prior to that, I had always stayed away from New Orleans Saints running backs.
But in a PPR league, why would you do that though?
Because I think that there's better running backs that are also pass catching running backs that get more touches as well during the game. So there's just more. I think that there was always more chance before Alvin Kamara came into the league with the Saints. There was just always more room for more points from anybody but it's because you just didn't know what you were getting from them week to week. So I always tended to stay away from those type of running backs who are only strictly used out of the the backfield, like the New England Patriots running backs too. Always stay away from New England Patriots running backs because they're used the same way.
Well, the only one really that you could count on consistently at that point would be James White because he was the only one that was going to play regularly during the game. Because every week, 1 week it was Burkhead, the next week it was Sony Michel. The next week it was, I don't know, some guy they picked out of the stands and decided to hand him the ball, But James White was always that main go-to. So I'm trying to bring up.
So you're going with CMC number 1 overall.
Yeah, hands down. You have to. The guy's a dual threat. Anytime he touches the ball, he is a threat to go to the house with it. Does not matter.
What about Patty Mahomes?
Never take a quarterback number 1 overall. Not there again. It all depends on your league, though. Too. Like I play a 12-team PPR league. I am not taking a quarterback in the first round.
Really?
Nope.
Huh.
Our quarterback. But there again, like I said, scoring now matters. In our league, quarterbacks don't score a ton. You get 1 point for every 100 yards passing and 4 points for a touchdown pass. So why would I waste a first round pick on that?
Scoring definitely matters. So do you get rushing yards for your quarterback as well?
Yeah, but there again. So for a PPR league, we're a very low scoring league. So we are 1 point for every 25 yards rushing or receiving.
Yeah,
and then 6 points for a rushing or receiving touchdown. 4 points for a passing touchdown, point per catch. So it's a very low scoring league. Like in our league, if you score,
your league is more about running
points,
backs and wide receivers than it is quarterbacks. And okay,
100%. So like I said, where it comes, that's why I will never touch a quarterback in the first round. Why would I waste a pick on that?
Okay, why don't you give the people who's the best tight end in fantasy this year?
Tim T. Oh, he got cut. Too soon, Joey.
Boy.
Is that too soon, Joey?
Boy.
Joey's going to go off the rails again.
Oh,
So, God, it's hard to pick because you still have Gronk and you still have Kelsey. But if you were going to put if you put a gun to my head and said pick one, I'm going to say Travis Kelsey just because he does have Patty Mahomes as his quarterback. There again, you have the three-headed monster with him and Hill and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then I would even throw McCole Hardman in there. McCole Hardman's looking like a legitimate number 2 wide receiver. If that's just what that offense needs is another legitimate weapon on the outside. And exactly. he's looking legit to me. But if you like I said, gun to my head, I would take Travis Kelsey probably 9 times out of 10. The other time I would probably go after Gronk.
Yeah, absolutely. So one more before we get into the next subject. Who is your biggest fantasy sleeper heading into this season? Who's the one guy that people are like, I don't know if I should draft this guy, and you're in like the 12th or 13th round. You've got only a few rounds left. You're trying to find your sleepers. Most of the big names are gone. Or maybe it's not even a guy who's even getting drafted. Maybe it's a guy you could pick up off the waiver wire in some leagues. Who's your biggest fantasy sleeper?
Just because it's such an unknown whether or not the lead guy's going to bust out or not. I will tell you, for a sleeper in your league and as a great handcuff, is Jamal Williams that signed with Detroit in the offseason. DeAndre Swift is a prime candidate to be a bust this season. I'm hoping not. I have big expectations for DeAndre Swift this year because I think he's going to look great. But if you're looking for a sleeper, because even though Jamal Williams is going to be the number 2 back there right now, he's going to get his touches every single week. And when they get around the goal line, they're probably going with Jamal Williams because he's going to get it into the end zone. The guy is a human wrecking ball when he gets around the goal line. So I would say, I will tell every single one of you right now, keep an eye on Jamal Williams. If he is there late rounds in your draft, you take him. He is one of the best handcuffs, especially since DeAndre Swift is a prime candidate to be a bust on the year. So who knows, if he does bust, Jamal Williams could be starting by the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm logging into my fantasy team right now to see if he's available.
So if you look at his stats as a backup to Aaron Jones last year, he still put up 82 points. And there again, that's in our league, which is pretty good. Where Aaron Jones was the lead fantasy back last year with 171.
Okay. All right. So let's switch gears here. Let's talk some more football. So the Baltimore Ravens have 4 wide receivers that are slated to miss at least 1 game. The biggest flaw in Lamar's game is his passing game. You could tell Buck wrote this. Does this worry you about their season?
No, because if worse comes to worse, they can still rely on Lamar to run it. I don't care if the defense knows he's going to run it at him. He's still running past 90% of the league. So even if they got a receiver that misses a game here or there, it's nothing new. Their receivers battled injuries last year and he had to take off running, or he relied on his tight ends that much more. So I don't think it's as big of a deal. If anything, all it does is hinder his development as a quarterback with trying to get that rapport and trying to learn how to be a better pocket passer.
Okay. I'm not worried about the Baltimore Ravens. I'm not worried. I don't think that the biggest flaw in Lamar's game is his passing game either. I think that Lamar does just fine. I think he gets a bad rap for some of the things that happen because he's always trying to make things happen. So I'm not worried about their season. Their wide receivers don't blow me out of the water anyway. So if you're missing them for a game here and there, they probably are deep enough to figure that out. But the thing that worries me about the Baltimore Ravens would be the Cleveland Browns, not their wide receivers missing. I think that the Cleveland Browns are just a better team right now. So if anything is going to worry me about the Baltimore Ravens season, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be Cleveland Browns, not Lamar's passing game. Right. I don't understand. So Javier
So
says, please tell Buck to bet me the $500, please. I guess he doesn't like Henry.
So I did lie. I was on free agents for our league, so I was to all players. So actually, Alvin Kamara was the top scoring running back in fantasy football last year. In our league, he scored 276 points. That is 48 points more than the next closest running back, which was Dalvin Cook.
No, he had a good season last year.
And now, like going back to
they had to lean on him a lot too, though, because you remember when their quarterback went. Why can't I? Drew Brees.
So,
when Drew Brees went down, they brought in Taysom Hill. They had to rely on that running game a lot.
Yeah.
And Kamara went off during those 4 weeks, so it doesn't surprise me. Javier says, please tell Buck bet me the $500. I guess he doesn't like King Henry. Buck does not like King Henry. He's been down on King Henry. As a matter of fact, he had him ranked in his preseason rankings last year behind Miles Sanders. Yikes.
Yeah. Do you want to know who the fourth highest scoring running back in the NFL was last year?
Are you even paying attention to the
fantasy?
show anymore? Or are you just looking up fantasy numbers?
We're talking this week. We went fantasy stats. I went full fantasy stat mode.
Like you just like lost. You're like fantasy. Duh. By the way, while you were talking, I just tried to make a trade for Jamal Williams in my league.
So the fourth leading scorer in fantasy football last year was no other than David Montgomery.
Yeah. Hey, look, David Montgomery is a quiet, good back. I think he's very underrated in the league. And a lot of that has to do with the offense that they are running in Chicago. The quarterback play has been awful. So it's just made that much worse. Sorry, I'm watching as Lance Lynn just got ejected for the White Sox. But
He just want to keep it, was he getting hammered, or did he just want to keep his ERA down?
no, he wasn't getting hammered. They're actually winning 1-0. Or actually, no, it's tied 1-1. So anyway, no, look. Oh God, what were we talking about?
Fantasy football in my world.
No, we were talking about the Bears running back there.
David Montgomery.
David Montgomery. So David Montgomery does a lot of things, but doesn't get a whole lot of credit for how good he is out of the backfield. He's a good pass catching running back. And plus, he's a running back that can go north, south, east, or west on you. So David Montgomery, a lot of people sleep on him. David Montgomery is a very solid running back, and I think he's only going to get enhanced by Justin Fields running this offense. So, if you're sleeping on him, don't. If he's available in your league, go get him. And if you can get him, if he's still available in the third or fourth round when you're picking, definitely go after him. So let's go back to fantasy here. I know you're in fantasy mode. Jalen Hurts is ranked 9th in fantasy stats projections for 2021. 9th. Jalen Hurts.
Wait.
Jalen freaking Hurts. I don't know. Buck wrote it, so probably not. What are you expecting from Jalen Hurts this season?
Not 9th. He's rated. Hold on, I got to scroll down here.
I would say probably like 28.
He's rated 17th. Trey Lance is expected to score more fantasy points than him, and Trey Lance isn't even starting.
Buck, what are you doing, buddy? Buck's no longer allowed to do these when he has no time to do them. None of us had time to do it. So just so you guys know, full disclosure, I worked until about 6:15, even though I was working from home. Tori's in a new job. He's doing, interviews, doing all sorts of stuff. So he didn't have any time today. He was in meetings all afternoon. Buck's wife is working a new job, so she's working different hours. he realized, at around noon that he wasn't going to make it to the show, said, hey, I could do a rundown, but I'm not going to have much time. If you guys want me to do it, we were both like, yeah, we're going to be super busy, so it's better than flying off the cuff. Why don't you write us up a rundown? And this is what we get. Jalen Hurts is the 9th.
Buck, I just want to know
as soon as it came out of my mouth, because I didn't even read over some of this rundown until just now. But as soon as that came out of my mouth, I was like, that's not right. Jalen Hurts.
Buck is obsessed with the NFC East for whatever reason. Everything turns into about the NFC
and the Detroit Lions.
And the Detroit Lions. That's because he's in love with Luke G.
He thinks that if Jalen Hurts played for the Detroit Lions, they're winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, I'm like, they have, him ranked ahead of people like Ryan.
As he chimes in, he says 9th per Matthew Berry. Matthew Berry's an idiot.
Were you watching? Are you sure you weren't watching The League? And it was an episode where Matthew Berry was on there and like trying to throw him off. Like, I don't know if any of you have ever watched The League or not, but Matthew Berry was on that show.
That was such a funny show.
And they were trying to get.
Do they still do
advice.
It?
No, I think that show ended. Ended like probably 6 or 7 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I think they only had a few seasons, but man, it was a funny show. If you never saw The League and you're a fan of fantasy football, definitely check out that show. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, Netflix or something. But that was a hilarious show on FX, and every time I watch it cracked me up.
Well, I think it's funny though. Like, so I got curious about these projections now, and so Jalen Hurts is projected to be 17th. He's also projected to score more points than Matthew Stafford this season, which I don't think is going to happen.
Frick? Who wrote these? Did Buck write these?
Right, Buck. Are you writing for CBS now? He's projected to score more points than Deshaun Watson, which could happen if Deshaun decides.
Yeah, because Deshaun Watson's going to be in prison.
Fitzpatrick, he's got more points than Ben Roethlisberger. Buck's man crush Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I can see. Carson Wentz, I don't think so. Because I think Carson Wentz is going to have a good season if he's healthy. If he's healthy, the Indianapolis Colts are going to have a good season.
Yeah, some of this stuff is pretty bad. Like as it goes on, like they've got Trey Lance winning the starting job, so they've got.
Chris Sims wrote these, didn't they? This was a Chris Sims article on CBS, wasn't it?
It could have.
That guy's a moron, by the way.
This is just a ranking system. So they have like 5 or 6 guys because we always do our stuff through CBS, and there's like 5 or 6 guys, and then they base like the ADP off that. So if you don't know what ADP means, that's your average draft position.
See, I always thought it was average draft pick.
No, average draft position.
Oh, see, learn something new every day. Isn't the draft pick the same as position though? Because that's where you're picked.
No, because if you look at so I don't know which one you use. So the way CBS does it, you picked him at this position, 23 picks before we had him going, or you got great value here because for whatever reason.
Of course I did CBS because you've got Jalen Hurts outscoring freaking Matt Stafford. You morons.
I'm like, how's that even work? That's just not going to end well. So
I think Chris Sims will come out on CBS and he'll have his top 10 quarterback list, and it'll be Jalen Hurts at number 1, Dak Prescott at number 2, Patty Mahomes at 3, Brady at 7. Yeah, Matt Ryan at 4. You'll have it'll be some guy who hasn't played all year. He'll be at 5. They're horrible over there.
This guy here's dead.
Dan Marino.
Well, then cross him off the list. I forgot about that line in that movie till right then and there.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I don't put a ton of. there again, once the bullets start flying for real in the season, it becomes a crapshoot. You can draft well. I don't care. Like, we always laugh because CBS will send you out like a draft analysis, and it's like, you won the draft, you killed it. For whatever reason, CBS values tight ends
Buck.
way above everything else.
Buck. It's ADT. ADT protects your house, not ADP. Oh my God.
How do you know? Maybe he's got like a fake site that says ADP protects my house. The average draft position protects my house. That's how he pays the bills.
This guy, man. Oh boy.
So
at any rate, we are getting up against another break here. When we come back, we are going to get back into some more shop talk. So, for those of you that are still listening, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you guys want to talk about. Anything you guys want to talk about, we will talk about. I don't care what it is. We're going to talk about it next.
We're going to talk about it.
And we are back. It is time for Shop Talk. I did say we would talk about anything. We will talk about anything other than what Tori wants to talk about tonight, apparently, because his mind is
that guy's
in
a jerk.
The gutter. God. Then I kept putting it up. He kept trying to take it down, putting it back up. He was like he was embarrassed about what he said.
I forgot it scrolls. I better take that down right away. And it goes back up. So we had like a 10-second battle of putting it up and down.
Oops. All right. So it is time for Shop Talk. Dude, I got to tell you, man, I've been watching. Did you see the A's pitcher last night take that line drive off the face?
Yes. He went to the hospital.
My God. Dude, there was so much blood on the mound.
So much blood.
Oh, it was brutal. So I just saw the report that he had a broken cheekbone, but nothing was wrong with his eyes. or anything like that. So that's really good news for him. He was on his way to he was having a Cy Young type season. He was definitely in the running for Cy Young, and I mean, dude, that's brutal to see. I hate seeing stuff like that. I hate seeing it when you're playing. I hate seeing it, watching it on TV. It's just brutal, man. It's so hard. And he tried getting the thing was, his glove went up as the ball hit his face. So, I mean, the ball came back at 114 miles per hour. I mean, that's a comebacker. It's hard to get your glove up in time.
You're 68.5 feet away from that.
Yeah.
What's your reaction time is like a quarter of a second at that point.
Yes. And that's why I love it when pitchers snag those ones, because I'd rather see that than to see what happened to him last night.
So let me ask you something on that line. What's more horrific, that line drive off the face, or I can't remember if it was Tom Browning or Norm Charlton when they were throwing that pitch and their arm just snapped.
Yeah, that's hard to watch too. I just think that line drive off the face is brutal. That's why. So when I play softball, slow pitch, I play third, I play first, I play short, I play second. Anywhere in the infield I can play. And if I'm gonna play either even with the bag or I'm gonna play a step behind the bag. And if I'm playing first base and there's somebody on first, I'm playing a step in front of the bag. And I'm fine with that all day long. Like, I feel like I have plenty of time to react. I will not pitch. I will not step on a pitcher's mound in a softball circle because you could get killed.
Yeah.
You could absolutely get killed. And it's just not like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm a fan of playing the hot corners. I love having the ball hit so sharply that you don't have time to think, you only have time to react. But on the mound, man, that's just too much. You're in a vulnerable position after you finish your pitch, and to try to get back when these guys are swinging these bats, man, and as fast as though that ball comes back through the middle, forget that. Especially if I'm playing up against a guy like Hoffey who's a dick and always comes through the middle on purpose. Forget that. So Javier says, I hate people hating on my boy Justin Fields just because he got a sore hammy. And then Tori says, sore hymen. Come on, man. Get off my boy Fields. They feel like he's going to be ready for Saturday. Here's my idea. If it's still sore tomorrow, you sit him on Saturday. You don't take a chance. Not in a preseason game. You just don't take the chance. And I get it. You want to see how he's going to play through all three of these preseason games. And you want to see the things that he can do, and you already know he's better than Andy Dalton.
No, it's Andy Dalton's time.
It's his time to retire. So I just don't think that you risk the injury though. So, you've got plenty like you can see more from Andy Dalton. You can see more from Nick Foles. You can let them two play it out this weekend. You're going up against Mitch Trubisky, so it should be an easy night anyway. Granted, I would love to see, Justin Fields versus Mitch Trubisky, but that's just me. That's just me being selfish. As a Bears fan, you want to see what, how bad Mitch Trubisky is going to do and how well Justin Fields is going to do. So, I don't know. Javier says, yeah, he's young. He'll recover fast. I agree. I don't think you risk it if it's still sore. If it's something that was just, hey, we're just going to keep you out for today. You woke up, you went to the bar last night. You picked up some girl from the club and you went a little too rough and now you've got a sore groin.
Now you're Trevor Bauer?
I'm fine with that type of stuff. At any rate, moving on. He says, I'm going to win a lot of money with my boy Justin, just like he did in college.
Winning a lot of money is easy, Javier, if you just listen to me and Wyatt.
I don't know. I mean, you've had a couple things, and Bucks coming in. How can you win money with him clapping and getting water?
Yes.
if he's not the starter, he'll be the starter by week 4. I guarantee it, Javier. Don't listen to these clowns.
If they're smart,
I promise
they don't play
you,
him
by
all
week
this year,
4 versus
unless it's-
Detroit. By week 4
Unless it's
versus
necessary.
Detroit, Justin Fields will be there. He's going to be your starter by week 4.
So
Bet
what do you
on
think about the pickup now with Jason Peter? What is Jason Peter going to do for that offensive line?
I like the pickup mostly because so Tevin Jenkins, the offensive tackle that they drafted in the second round, great pickup. Unfortunately, has to go have back surgery. They're hopeful that he'll be back, at some point this season. But that's a big blow for this offensive line because he was supposed to be a big part of it, and now he's not going to be, for a good part of the season. So, I like to pick up Peters, but again, I mean, he's been around. God, how many years has Peter been in the league?
A long
A
I
long
feel like
time.
I feel like he's been around since I was born.
Yeah. I think he's like 36, 37 now, and he's been around the league for a long time. So I just, I just hope that they can sustain long enough to give Justin Fields a little bit of time, because I think that's all you need with Justin Fields. I think he's a good decision maker. I think he's good with his legs. I think he can escape pressure. He can do all the things that this offensive line needs him to do to win. So, we'll see how it goes. But Javier, I'm with you, man. Justin Fields is going to have a great year. He will be the starter by week 4. Should be the starter week 1, but they're the Bears, and they do Bear things. So, Tori, you got anything else for these guys tonight?
It's been.
It doesn't matter what you have to say. Man Hour Nation, rise up.